Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the UFC 264 picks for tonight. It is an absolutely jam-packed weekend of sports, a lot of good action, not only in MMA tonight, but we also have the Euro Championships, we have the Wimbledon Championships, we have PGA going on, we still have NBA playoffs, baseball, so much going on this weekend. It's going to be fun. So let's get it started with some good UFC action tonight. We have the trilogy set between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor on DraftKings. They are both the same exact price. They're daring you to pick one. Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. I do not see how you don't have either one in your lineup. That seems like it is a lock to be in the optimal one of those two fighters. So that is the spot where I would start with, just because they are both affordable and one of these guys is going to be in the optimal lineup. I just don't see any other way. So, looking at the last fight, we saw Dustin Poirier able to get the TKO victory. He's looked very good recently. The first fight was back in 2014, so that was a long time ago. Poirier's gotten a lot stronger. We've seen McGregor lose some fights recently, but he's still capable of just knocking anybody out. Just the significant strikes weren't really there last time, wasn't really there in the other loss that he had against Khabib, but that's as to be expected, as Khabib will just absolutely control you on the ground. Looking at how these two fighters match up, they're both very similar, same height, same weight. Conor has a couple inches of reach advantage. Both are lefties, and they both amass about 5.5 significant strikes per minute. Poirier's a little bit better with the takedowns, goes for submissions a little bit more. This fight is almost a pick 'em, and I think it's based on who you think is going to win. I'm personally leaning with Dustin Poirier. Just like what I've seen out of him recently. I like that, you can also get some takedowns, maybe get some submission work, get some ground control time to kind of steal maybe a round or two if he happens to get some control on the ground. And, if you go with Conor McGregor, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that Poirier will get the job done today. And then the other marquee matchup is between Gilbert Burns and Stephen Thompson. Both of those fighters are pretty affordable, especially if you think that Gilbert Burns can get the upset. He's a slight underdog here. His price on DraftKings is only $7,700. Thompson is checking in at 85, so both fighters are in play. Looking at the stats for these two fighters, Thompson is a little bit bigger, 4 inches in reach, 2 inches in height. Both have the same weight. Burns is a lot better on the ground, though. Thompson might be a little bit better on the feet, but if Burns happens to get a takedown or two, he should be able to get some control on the ground, just because he's very skilled in the jiu-jitsu department. And Burns, coming off of a very tough loss for him. He worked very hard. Thought he could get the job done, but unfortunately he came out with a loss against Kamaru Usman. He hung in there for a little over 2 rounds. Just wasn't able to get the job done. Usman is just an absolute monster. But before that, he was on an absolute tear, riding a 6-fight winning streak with some big wins in there against Damian Maia, against Kurchenko. But we saw him, unfortunately, that run come to an end against Usman. Personally, I'm a big Gilbert Burns fan. I think he's going to bounce back and get the win against Thompson. So I'm kind of going with a couple of fighters I know. Poirier, seems like a lot of people are picking McGregor, even though he's a slight favorite. And then Burns, a lot of people are looking at Thompson. So I don't mind going with these two. They're both very affordable. Even if they happen to lose, I still see Burns being able to get enough fantasy points at only $7,700 to still not absolutely ruin your night, because I don't see him getting taken out in the first or second round. I think this fight will go at least 3 rounds. And Poirier McGregor, I think Poirier, if he happens to do well, maybe can get one in the second or third round against McGregor. We'll see. But going with these two fighters leaves you with 85.50. There's one absolute lock almost on the slate, and that's Sean O'Malley. The fight got canceled against, he was originally scheduled to fight, who was it? Against Luis Smolka, but now he's fighting Moutinho, who just doesn't have a lot of experience in the UFC, where he's going up against Sean O'Malley, who should be able to just absolutely do whatever he wants against him, and just hopefully doesn't mess him up too bad. But O'Malley should be able to get the job done easily. He's $9,500, but seems to be almost a lock on the slate. I would play O'Malley over Zumagulov, I like Torpina as well against Ryan Hall, but I like him a little bit more than Zuglamulov. Probably didn't say that right, but that's as close as you're going to get. And then the last fighter I'll have here is quite a combination here. I think you can go Max Griffin. I like him to get the win against Carlos Condit. I like Tai Tuivasa against Greg Hardy. If you wanted to go to a cheaper fighter here, maybe you can look to Hu Yaozong, who is only a slight underdog. He's plus 125, and he's only $7,200. He is a pretty big fighter, gets some strikes. The other fighter that he's facing doesn't really go for a lot of strikes here, so maybe Xiaozong can get the upset win. And on DraftKings, he's only $7,200, so that is a fighter that I would look to as one of my favorite value plays in the 7K range, besides Gilbert Burns. And then maybe you can go to Ryan Hall. As if you're playing a bunch of teams, I would have some Ryan Hall just because he could get the upset. But Poirier, Burns, O'Malley, and then I'm going to throw in Max Griffin here to set you up. It leaves you about 8,000 left. Or if you're not feeling Griffin, you can actually go up to Toropina, who I think maybe it looks a little bit better to get the win. Also can get you a ton of fantasy points because he goes for a lot of knockouts and goes pretty hard with the, can get you some takedowns and get you a decent amount of significant strikes. We'll see how he matches up here against Hall. He's minus 230 favorite. Gets a bunch of takedowns, goes for a lot of submissions, so you better get some fantasy points just based on that. Both fighters don't strike too much, 2.5, but Ilya Toropina should be able to maybe work a takedown here and there, and if he does, he should be able to get a lot of ground control. So these 4 fighters leaves you with $7,800. You can still plug in a couple of guys that you like maybe still go with, wanted to go to a cheap fighter, go with like Yao Zong, go with Nico Price, also has a chance to get the upset win. Those 2 fighters I like in the low 7K range. And that is about it for this video, so thanks for watching. I will also, if you wanted to, if you're into like parlay action today or anything like that, you could look to this parlay. This is something I like. It's plus 801. You go with the 4 fighters that I had in this video. The Poirier and Burns, about plus Poirier is minus 135, Burns plus 135, both a little bit similar. Griffin only minus 190, and then Toropina minus 225. I like those a lot. You know, if you wanted to throw in like O'Malley, you can. But for me, those are the 4 fighters that this is a small parlay that I like, plus 801. Thanks for watching. Best of luck tonight, and I'll see you all next time.